What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new, welcome. I hope you like what you see. Do that, all that like, sharing, subscribing crap. But yeah, let's just get into this. This is gonna be the second video that I featured this RPK. I've done absolutely nothing to this thing. It's still bone stock as it came to me right out of the box. But we're gonna put our first initial rounds through this thing. We're gonna see if it's zeroed, which I really doubt it. And if it's not, we're going to zero it, maybe do some other things. But yeah, we're just going to see how this thing does, and we're just going to use this thing kind of as a test dummy. This will be the first thing that you guys will see on this channel in an AK type rifle, where I basically take it from brand new and do some changes to it, whatever it is that I do, furniture, you have it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, before we get out and put some rounds through it, one thing I noted in the other video, safety is not bad, but it is a little stiff. It's real simple and definitely an AK way of doing things. If you want to adjust that, take your cover off and literally you can just flip that safety. It'll stand up like this, and you can literally just bend that guy out. There we go. Might have went a little too far, but no big deal. You can always bend it back in. There we go. That's not too bad. So before coming out here, I was cleaning the threads here because we are going to swap muzzle devices in this video. I did notice something here on the muzzle, and I'll show it here in this picture. It seems to be like a little piece of chrome right at the end of the crown that is, I don't know if it's chipped or peeling or whatever, but we're going to see if that affects accuracy. When we go to swap muzzle devices, I'll take another picture to see what happens to that, and we'll touch on that as soon as we get some rounds through it. So as you can see, we have got just the standard slant brake, same thing that you'll find on a standard AKM. And we're gonna shoot some, I believe this is Kaiser, same thing as Sterling. It's a lacquer coated steel case. All right, we're good, we're loaded up. We are using the PMag. I figured that'd be the first one I'd run, seeing as that's going to be one of the cheapest and most readily available in most stores. I still suggest getting a steel mag for the same price, but let's put some rounds towards the C-zone, see if we can even hit it. Yeah. So I'm aiming pretty low on there, but I'm getting hits for the most part. Recoil impulse is super soft on this thing. Trying to see where the ejection's going. Wow, it's going maybe 10 feet. So it's really soft shooting. I don't know if you guys can catch that in the video there, but with this slant brake and this thing being a heavy gun, especially up front, it is driving the muzzle downward quite a bit, which I'm not surprised. That's typically what it does, even with a pretty gassy AKM. So let's go ahead and swap that out and see how that does. All right, just like any other AK, you've got a little detent right here, and you just need to push that down. It is left-hand thread, so you'll have to turn it like you would normally be loosening something. Take that guy off there. We're going to replace it with this JMac Customs 14x1 Plan B muzzle device. This is a face mount muzzle device. There we go. And I'll get this all the way down on here, get it tightened up. I actually have already off camera, I have installed this thing, mounted a suppressor, and checked it for concentricity, and it's actually good. All right, we've got this thing on here. As you guys can see, that little chip or that peeling part of the chrome still there, hasn't moved at all. It doesn't seem to be affecting accuracy, but then again, we haven't put it on paper yet. But got this JMac on here. It timed perfectly, where I've got two ports up here, one port down at the bottom, or the ports I should say. So let's see how that changes. All right, load it up. See how the JMac does. Definitely a lot nicer, not really pushing down, because as I've mentioned before in some other videos, the recoil or the muzzle going down is a weird sensation, and there's really nothing you can do to it to get away with that. So I'm hitting C-zone. I'm going to try and hit my 8-inch gong. First shot, and it actually knocked it off the T-post. So I think we're actually surprisingly pretty close to zeroed. So let's go set up a target and see how close we are. All right, deployed our bipod here. Get our mag in there. And we're just gonna try this, like I say, with the bipod, no bags or anything. We're just gonna see how this thing can do. I am gonna do a 6 o'clock hold. So I can see, I put up a shoot and see target like I have in some of the other videos, and I can literally see some of the paint missing. We're almost dead nuts, it looks like. So let's go get a closer look for you guys. Here we have it, guys. I've got 2 shots in here, 1 there, 2 a little bit higher, but I mean, had my sights level here, so I was shooting a little bit high. I did not graduate that sight to the 200, which usually typically for most of my fighting style rifles, I try and do a 50/200 yard zero. So that's honestly really, really good. That's actually really incredible. Like these 3 shots here, that's insane. This thing, if those are the only 3 shots I was shooting, this would be a 1 MOA rifle with iron sights. But I do have to include these 2 flyers. But still, that's really good. I don't know if I'm going to really mess with the sights until I take it out further, because I do like to confirm those zeros at 200, because it may look like not much off here, but it may be off 2 or 3 inches at 200, which I strongly encourage you guys to go do if you actually truly want your gun to be zeroed like you think it is. All right, we're empty. Don't win any Darwin awards, guys. So I am going to bump that sight to the 200. Just for the sake of the video, I am going to adjust these sights. This tool here is actually from Arsenal. I really, really like this. As you might be able to see here, this is an elevation tool here on this, and it is broken off because it's split down the middle. This one is not. So with a front sight, you actually want to adjust it. You want to move the sight the opposite direction that you want the group to go. So since we are a little bit high, I'm going to raise that a little bit. Don't need to go far. I'm gonna call that good. So our windage adjustment, we've got one of these. I like these because they'll fit on almost any front sight block. If you get the Magnamatic, that's honestly a really good tool, sold by, I believe, AK Operators Union. But since it's in a complete circle, you don't have to worry about it breaking, but it doesn't fit as many front sight blocks. So I like these. Get one that has round parts in the corners and it'll be less likely to break. So we were a little bit to the left, meaning I do want to push that to the left. I'm about to do that the wrong way. Let's get this on here. All right, got that moved a little bit. Let's load some more rounds, shoot another group, see how it does. All right, we're empty. Let's go look at the target. Okay, so this is a little more what I'm used to seeing out of an AK. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is more centered, so I think I'm gonna leave it there for now. But we are gonna throw a suppressor on here and see if that affects our zero. All right, Sandman X. I kind of figured this would be a good can to put on here because AKs are typically overgassed. As you guys have already seen, this one not so much. I have a feeling this is going to be super nice to shoot suppressed. Here we go. feel like that sounds pretty good. I can tell I'm getting a little bit extra back pressure, but not much. But again, Sandman X is somewhat of a flow-through suppressor. So we're empty. Let's go check the target. Okay, so again, sights are level here. I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a little bit more. I would rather it shoot about right here. So that is a good indicator for you guys. If you do run suppressors and you do zero your rifles, you're gonna have to zero it with the suppressor, because some rifles you're not gonna see as much of an impact shift as others, but this one definitely did. It's something you're just gonna have to check for yourself, but I still recommend you zeroing. If you're gonna shoot suppressed, zero your rifle with your suppressor. All right, now we're just gonna run some rounds through it. Just, we're up here about 30, 35 yards. Just gonna shoot the A zones and stuff like, or C zones and stuff. See how it does. Just get some quicker shooting on camera. Here we go. Getting that 8-inch. Smoking. Running good. Okay, before we move on, do some more shooting. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like a little bit of grease and stuff that's coming out from around the gas block. So when the gun was new, there was like some white stuff bubbled up, and now it's just turning into this. It almost just looks like burning bacon grease or something, but it's probably no big deal. It's probably something that they put on there when they were pressing these parts on here, because they are press fit then pinned. So it's just part of the manufacturing process. Keep that in mind if you do send an AK in to be Cerakoted. So that has to get leached out of the gun before they put the Cerakote on, because if that starts bubbling out and they don't do that, it will compromise the paint underneath. So just a little tidbit for you guys. As per usual, let's try and get a few 1R1s. This thing, I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty end heavy. Not that the gun necessarily is extremely heavy, but it is definitely heavier than a normal AK. But we're still going to try and get some 1R1s if we can. I did bring my timer, so we're just going to wing it. So here we go. So I am going to bring that thing back, tuck it into the pocket. Let's do another one. We'll start over here. I don't know if I, yep, actually got around in there. There we go. Here we go. Nice. Okay, got a few rounds left, and before we run some of our last drills, I'm just gonna take one of my earplugs out. Don't necessarily suggest that, because even with suppressor, you typically do still want to run some hearing protection. If I can get this little earbud thing to stay on there. But I just want to see what this thing sounds like with no hearing protection, or at least with this ear. Got a round loaded, and I'm just gonna shoot into the tires. Not bad. I'd say it's under hearing safe. My ears aren't ringing or anything. About on par, I'd say, with like Wolverine, but this thing's way lighter and obviously pretty much no back pressure. Okay, got our suppressor cooled down, got it off there. I will point out the Sandman X. This is made out of the 282 Haynes material, I believe, and it does get pretty hot pretty fast, but I actually feel like it cooled down pretty quickly, which was pretty nice. But also want to point out here, see how that shoulder, that tapered shoulder, sealed all that carbon and the gases off from those threads, which is going to be a really nice option for you guys that are going to run suppressed and possibly want to do this, where you're not basically having a suppressor live on your gun and you want to remove it, put a different suppressor, or just shoot it unsuppressed like we're about to do. Nice. So there we have it. I'm only going to shoot, I think we shot 100 rounds today, so we are going to just shoot 100 rounds today just to get this thing somewhat broken in and see how it's doing before we make any changes to it. And we'll cover that in another video. But as I mentioned before, I did not do anything at all to this rifle. Didn't polish anything, didn't lubricate it or anything. And I want to harp on that lubrication part. So these things, including Wassers, a lot of times will come with some oil on there. That is not a lubricant. They put that on there to keep these things from rusting during shipping and storage, whatever, what have you. So that is not a lubricant. If you want to lube your gun, clean that stuff off and re-lube it with an actual quality lubricant that's meant to lubricate the rifle. Part of the reason why I did not is this thing, as most Romanian guns are, it's not the smoothest. It's got this, it's almost like phosphate, but I believe it is parkerized finish. It's not the smoothest. So one thing I learned at my rifle dynamics class was to shoot these things dry for at least a little bit, and it will smooth them up really fast. So this thing is immensely smoother now after basically 100 rounds dry than it was before whenever I got it. So that's just a little tidbit for you guys. If your AK is not that smooth when you first get it, just go out and run it bone dry. It will run if it's built even remotely correct, and then you'll have a much smoother rifle afterwards. So there we have it. First initial impressions, checking zero, what have you, on the AES10B2. Future videos, I'm not going to say that mouthful. I'm just going to call it an RPK because that's what it is. So anyway, if you like what you saw, you have any questions or anything, or any other things you'd like me to look into specifically on the RPK, or just want to see how this thing changes throughout my ownership of it, just do all the stuff. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But anyway, thank you for stopping by. Hope you like what you saw. Hope to see you in the next video.